Hello everyone and welcome to another game I played on PTCGO. As you can see, first off, this is a new updated PTCGO software or client. Looks a little bit different. Some things are better, some things are worse. I don't know if they're ever going to get it perfect in my opinion, but I don't know, I commend them for trying. I hope it at least looks better. You can see more of the screen now. So the selection screen for your starting hand also changed. Looks like my opponent is going to start off with a mulligan. I saw a catcher there and a few other things that didn't exactly cue me into what he's playing, but I'm going to be playing a Raichu, Flareon, and Dugtrio deck. So I'm going to start off with Eevee and bench a Pikachu. I'm going to decide to draw an additional card for the mulligan and get a Pikachu off of it. And it looks like my opponent's actually playing an Yveltal deck. So I'm glad I have two Pikachu on the bench, and I really think I should get a third here. So I'm actually going to Ultra Ball away a Flareon and a Leafeon in my hand in order to get a third Pikachu potentially, or maybe I can get a Diglett in case he plays a Darkrai. That might also be a good thing here. Or Trubbish. So that's what I decided to go for, because Garbodor will shut off his Dark Cloak ability if he does play Darkrai, which most of these decks do. So I play a Shauna. I don't get much anything that I can use immediately, so missing that energy first turn might come back to haunt me. So my opponent here is going to Ultra Ball away two things to get something. So here, I'm not running sort of a standard, I guess, Raichu build because I have both Dugtrio and Garbodor and Mr. Mime, so I do have something with ability here. My opponent's going to catcher and it fails, but then he ends. I run Mr. Mime to prevent the bench damage from Dugtrio, but I still run Garbodor just in case it becomes useful, because it's really useful in some matchups, so the whole point of the deck is knowing which cards to use when. So my opponent is going to use Oblivion Wing. He's going to be able to attach Dark Energy to one of the Yveltal EXs he just benched. And it looks like I may have something here to work with. If I can play that Dowsing Machine or that Juniper for a supporter. So I get another Pikachu. I will play that down. Ideally, I'd like to play that Dowsing Machine for something that might be useful, but I don't really think I discarded anything I'd want to use again. I'll play a DCE down on Pikachu, and looking at my discard, I can bring back an Ultra Ball or a Shauna. Neither of those two things is something I want to use right now, so I'm gonna just not use it. I will, however, here I think just Juniper everything away. I thought I was going to play a Dugtrio, or Diglett on the bench, but I decided against it because I also want to power up Flareon, so getting more Pokemon in the discard was useful. I get a Mr. Mime. I'm going to send that up. And now I have Raichu in hand and an Escape Rope. So my opponent has to send up an Yveltal EX. And I get a free knockout here, essentially. I get to evolve into Raichu, Circle Circuit for the knockout. So here we go. I can evolve into Flareon. So Flareon's a good closer here as your opponent starts taking prizes. You can sort of end the game with a revenge. I'm going to evolve into Raichu here twice, since I was able to level ball for a different Raichu. And I can Circle Circuit for 200 damage. So seeing a Stage 1 with 90 HP knockout, essentially the most menacing card in the format right now. It's quite awesome. And I also think a deck like this with Stage 1 Pokemon becomes a little bit more viable once the next set comes out, because Pyroar's Intimidate will essentially block damage from anything that isn't evolved, which is kind of potentially scary to the current format or the decks that dominate it if it becomes popular. So that's a big if in my mind, but I think it's an interesting card. So here my opponent is going to N, he did send up his regular Yveltal. He's going to play down a Veerbank and then a Laser. Fortunately, I'm awake, so, well, I thought I would be able to attack, but it looks like I won't. He uses an enhanced hammer and then a random receiver. That's going to net him an N. He will Oblivion Wing here, probably bringing back a Darkness Energy. I think he does have some in his discard, and with that he'll be able to attack with his benched Yveltal. So now, here, I ideally want to draw a DCE to be able to attack this turn, so I'm going to be Junipering my hand away. I managed to get a DCE, so I'll stick it on the active. I want to just knock this non-EX Yveltal just to keep my opponent under the gun here, to force him to play aggressively, because I do have another Raichu waiting in the wings, and my Raichu that was in the active did fall to poison. So here I'm just going to send up Trubbish in case my opponent wants to knock that out. I'm perfectly fine with him doing so at the moment. Since I have a 2 prize lead right now, I can afford to lose a Trubbish. So my opponent here is going to end me down to 3 cards. But one of those is a DCE, which is quite fortunate for me. But I will need him to knock out Trubbish, or I will need to get a Floatstone. So he's going to Hypnotoxic Laser, and with that he'll actually be able to knock me out since I don't have any energy attached to this Trubbish. So he Evil Balls for 60, and in between turns I take 30 and get knocked out. So now I'm going to promote Raichu. So here I need to bench one Pokemon at least to be able to knock him out with Circle Circuit. So I'm going to bench Trubbish and Eevee, and that actually does enough damage to knock him out, or actually more than enough. So now my opponent is going to send up a Darkrai that he benched on his last turn. I'm not too afraid of this right now at the moment. I can Circle Circuit for 100 only. He's going to bench a Bouffalant and attach a Darkness Energy onto his active and then Juniper his hand away. I can't one-hit KO him, but I can do quite a bit of damage. He's going to Dark Patch onto an Yveltal that he just benched. That's the only thing you can Dark Patch onto. And here I'm just checking my discard. So I'm not sure what he wants to attack with here. If he wants to go with Yveltal or if he wants to go with Darkrai. My bet would be the Darkrai because I don't yet have a Dugtrio out. But it looks like he's going to play it cautiously and send up Bouffalant just in case I can take the knockout. So I'm going to send up or attach an energy to Pikachu, and then I'll Circle Circuit for 80 since Bouffer did subtract 20 from that attack. So here my opponent really needs to knock out Raichu here because I'd only need one more prize. So now he's going to use an Escape Rope. Here I figure I can sacrifice Eevee. He's going to send up Darkrai. He's going to Professor's Letter here, but for whatever reason he fails it, and it looks like he did just to play a Bicycle. It's kind of weird. I actually thought he would want energy here. Then he's going to Computer Search, discarding a DCE, and I still don't understand his play right there, why he'd got energy. And he actually plays an energy switch. And then an N, so maybe he was just planning on ending me down. And he brings out an enhanced hammer, getting rid of my energy. And we see another Bicycle. So he's just running through his deck rather quickly. And finally we see a Muscle Band. So he hits me for 110 in the knockout. But fortunately I won't be taking any bench damage here. Although if I want to use Garbodor this match, which may be useful at some point, now that Darkrai is being used to attack, I will kind of want to use a tool onto that Trubbish. I'm going to attach a Silver Bangle on Pikachu, the one on the bench. just because it does have an energy and Raichu has free retreat. So here I can't actually attack this turn, which is highly unfortunate. So here I'm debating as to what I can sacrifice. I'm going to send up Trubbish, and then I will Ultra Ball away an Ultra Ball and a Float Stone. I do want those silver bangles to get a Diglett. So if I can get a Dugtrio next turn, I will be able to get the win, so long as I also draw an energy, and with a chorus in hand, it's kind of a high possibility of me doing it, since I think I've discarded only 2 fighting energy and one's in play. I play a total of 6, I believe. My opponent is going to Ultra Ball for a Darkrai, and here he can just take the knockout, but that might help me if I can just push up Diglett and evolve it into a Dugtrio. He attaches a DCE onto Darkrai, and then he's going to Dark Patch on it. So this is also helping me, the fact that he's attaching energies so often, because I do play Leafeon, which has Energy Crush. My opponent is going to play Catcher. It fails, but he does get the knockout on Trubbish. So here I'm going to promote Raichu because it has a free retreat again. I will play that Silver Bangle onto Diglett, and here I Chorus. And I get a Dugtrio, but unfortunately I do not get an energy, so this is a tricky situation. I will Super Rod a energies here, because I'm afraid that if that last card is an energy and its prize, I am greatly reducing my chances of drawing one. So let me just tip the odds in my favor. I will Super Rod back in 2 fighting energies, along with a Diglett, since it looks like he's favoring Darkrai to attack. And here I once again need to pick something to sacrifice. I'm going to send up Eevee here and just end my turn because I can't do anything. But again, my opponent must see it in the cards that if he knocks out Eevee, I can potentially just draw the required energy and knock him out. He's going to Hypnotoxic Laser. He plays down a Keldeo and a Dark Energy. I'm not sure what use Keldeo is going to have here, but he chooses to rush in. And with Keldeo, again, not sure why, but I guess there's no threat of abilities being shut off here. But I did draw a Leafeon, so I will evolve into that. I can evolve my Pikachu into Raichu, and now Leafeon, and here I once again have to end my turn. So I'm going to attach a Float Stone to Leafeon, retreat into Flareon, because I figure I can afford to sacrifice Flareon. If I keep Leafeon in play and Energy Crush the Keldeo, I can hit for weakness and take the win that way. So I just need to get that energy. Right now it's essentially a game of chicken. If my opponent knocks me out, he fears that I can just draw the energy and take the return knockout on whatever he sends up. So we see a Hypnotoxic Laser, and here the big question will be whether or not he keeps Keldeo in the active, or he decides to send up a Darkrai. So it looks like he kept Keldeo in the active. I get an N, so here I'm going to play down a Float Stone, a Silver Bangle, just on anything to increase my chances of getting an energy. And what do you know, off an N of 1 I do get an energy. So here I'm going to retreat into Leafeon, and I will be able to Energy Crush for the knockout, doing a grand total of 280. And what do you know, my last prize was an energy, so it sort of explains the energy drought there at the end. So once again guys, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck.